Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about the pen tool drawing, just the same thing what we learned from last class. So this is a video tutorial. I'm going to do everything again, exactly the same thing what we did from our last class, so you can learn everything again. So first let's go to the new file. Let's start from creating a file. So I'm going to give a name to my file. I will call it pen drawing. So make sure you are at the size you want, and let's create the file. So first I'm going to go to the workspace. I will reset my essential classic mode. Yes, so now you should get a workplace like this. So for the pen tool, which is at the left row, 1, 2, 3, 4, the third one is the pen tool. You can also click the shortcut P to access to your pen tool. So the pen tool, the first function, let's turn the color off first. So the first function of the pen tool is pretty straightforward. We can just click to create the straight lines, to create those geometric shapes or lines like this, and let's delete them. So for the demonstration, I want to use two pictures. So let's go to the canvas. When you go to the canvas, you can see the January 23 in class activity line drawing practice, and I posted two line drawing here. One is the fox and one is the elephant. So you can simply just pull these two pictures into your artboard. Let's do that again. Drag in, or you can right click on the image to save the image as, and just save it on your computer, and you can import them into your Illustrator. So now I got two pictures here, and let's select them all. You can just use your selection tool, which is V, and to select both of them, and you can also just shift click and hold on the shift key on your keyboard and click on the first one, click on the second one. So yes, let's select both of them, and here is the selection for the opacity. Let's click on this arrow and let's hold and drag this blue dot to decrease the opacity. So in that way we can see the picture, and we can also see what we are drawing, right? So now let's go back to the selection tool, which is V. Click on V on the keyboard. So let's go to the Windows and go to the layers, which is here. So now you see I have my first layer, which is the two pictures here. So I'm going to double click on layer 1, and I will name them as picture layer. Pictures, and let's hit return. So I created, this is my picture layer, and I want to lock it, because if I'm not locking it, when I draw something on them, sometimes they will move. So when I'm lock on this layer, that means I can do nothing with this layer. I can't use the tool to do anything, so they are totally locked, fixed on your keyboard. Then let's create a new layer. So this one I want to name it as pen drawing, because I'm going to show you about the pen drawing using this layer, and I hit return. So make sure you select your pen drawing layer, because we're going to, it's unlocked. Make sure it's unlocked, because we're going to use this, draw something on this layer. So let's go to our pen tool. You can hit P on keyboard. So the fox is really easy to draw, which is just creating those straight lines. So whenever you want to adjust the width of your stroke, just go back to your selection key, make sure your shape is selected, and let's reduce the width of the stroke. Then let's go back to our pen tool and continue drawing. Oh, so sometimes you see, besides our pen tool, there is a minus mark, right? So what's that mean is our delayed anchor point will automatically appear here. So if I continue drawing on this point, click, it will delete my anchor point. So I don't want it to be happen. So let's click on Command Z to go back. So if I still want to click on this anchor point, but I don't want anything to be deleted, let's hold on Shift and click. So in that way, that means let's restart from this anchor point. Here, click, 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 click. So now I want to stop drawing because I don't have any lines to need to draw among this part, so I click on P to stop. Then I can start from here again. You see, the delete anchor point appears again. So let's click on Shift and click on this anchor point to continue drawing. Shift, continue drawing. Shift, continue drawing. Shift, click, Shift to continue drawing. So I want to end, so I just click on P. From here, Shift, can continue drawing. Yeah, so the fox is pretty easy to draw because they're all straight shape. Yeah, so I'm going to stop here. So as you know, you can just click those straight lines to draw the whole fox. So except for drawing the pen and the straight lines with the pen tool, straight line, our pen tool could also create curvature lines. I'm going to show you here. So still make sure you are turning on your pen tool. Let's click on this. First click, second click and hold, click, hold and drag. You will see I got a curvature line here. So I got one anchor point with the two handles right here. So the functions of the handle is to determine the directions of your curve. So you see, as I'm moving the handles, my path is moving left and right too, which I can just determine the direction of my handle, while the length of my handle determine on the level of my curve. So the longer my handle is, the more curve I will get. The shorter my handle is, the less curve my path will get. So just try to play with it. Click and hold, continue drawing, click and hold, see left and right, and I can increase the handle to get more curve. Just in this way, we can just make our drawing to follow a specific path. So here, let's try to draw the elephant. So for example, this is my sketch and I want to turn it into digital. I want to create curves here. So let's start from here. Click, first click, second click, and I click, hold, drag. So I will get a curve here. And I'm going to continue drawing here, click and drag. So by using the pen tool, you can create whatever the curve line you want, the different level, the different directions. So whenever I want to restart from this point, I find that it's hard for me to continue. It's not going to go right. So I'm going to double click on this point and restart from this anchor point again. I'm going to click and drag, click and drag, and I'm going to click and drag. No, I'm going to start from here. Click and drag. Click and drag. Just to make sure your path is following the lines in your sketches. Click and drag. So you'll see how the handles determine the directions and the level of the curve. So you always pay attention to your handles to see how it works. Click and drag to create curves. So I'm going to restart from this point. So I double click on it. Click and drag. 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 So this is the way how we follow the path. Yes, so let's continue. Yeah. So now I'm done. So I'm going to click on shortcut key. I'm going to click on V to go back to our selection tool. So right now we just created a continuous lines drawing of an elephant. So I click on what I'm drawing. So actually if you think I want to go back to adjust some details, so some place they are not looks really good, I want to make some adjustment. So we just go to the second row, the right row, the first tool, direct selection tool, and you use this tool to click on your path. You could see all the anchor point or the handles, and the handles you just created on your path. So you can always go back to adjust them by just dragging the handles, or you can drag the anchor point. Just make everything looks good. So here I need more curve, right? So I drag this handle. And from here I want to adjust the place of my anchor point, and I just click and drag. Change the level of the curvature. So here, drag. So you can always just go back to make sure all the details looks good. So whenever you think you want to add an anchor point, in some point there's need another anchor point, let's go back to the pen tool and right click. You will see add anchor point tool. For example, I will add one anchor point here. I will let's just click on the path. So you see I got a new anchor point and two handles, and I can go back to my direct selection tool to click and adjust my new anchor point here. So just make any adjustment you think you need for your drawings. Also you can delete anchor point that is you think I don't need this one, so you see it's deleted. Let's click on Command Z to go back. So make sure whenever you want to adjust your anchor point or go to your handles, always make sure the direct selection tool is open. Click on direction selection tool to make those adjustments right here. So now I want to make my lines smoother. What should I do is we also use the direction selection tool, and we click on our path, and it shows up all the anchor point, right? So now let's go into the first row And let's find our smooth tool, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the sixth one. So it may probably in your interface it may appear the pencil tool on this place, but just right click, you can see the smooth tool belongs to the same family with the pencil tool. So let's click on the smooth tool, and when you turn on your smooth tool, you can see there is a small white circle here. So let's use the circle to draw on your, just simply draw on your path. So you see, the smooth tool will reorganize your anchor point to make everything smoother. So you can just draw to make it smoother. So this is a really helpful tool. So let's click V to go back as when you are done. So I want to show you another way to smooth your lines. So for example, let's go back to our pen tool, which is right click here and select our pen tool. I just click. I'm creating a jagged line. Click V. So what if I want to make my angle, the straight angle, into a curve? Let's go back to our direct selection tool, and you will see there is always a little round icon beneath the straight angle in my lines. So I will click on, select my little round circle, click and drag. So I can turn my straight angle point into a curve. Or with that is turn it into a round cap. Yes, you can always select if you just click here, click, and you will change all the straight angle point to the round cap. So if you just click to select the specific one, you will just turn this one into a curve. So what you can do is let's go back to our direct selection tool and select our path. Let's go to the object tool, and let's, under the object menu, you can see there is a selection, the path, and from the path let's go to the smooth option. Let's turn on our smooth selection, and you will see this little rectangular box, and let's drag this dot. Let's try to go back to our selection tool to do that again. Object, path, smooth tool. Oh, so here we go. Here we can make our jagged line into a smooth curved line. So I made a mistake. You shouldn't go to your direct selection tool and select your line to do that. You should always go to your normal selection tool, which is V. Click on V on the keyboard. Yes. So this is our pen drawing. So before I show you the curvature tool, let's turn on our grid. Let's go back to the top menu, then click on view, and let's scroll down. Let's show grid. So here is I turned on my grid. So grid is always a really good visual reference, especially if you want to create a logo or something that with a specific proportion or distance between elements. So grid is always helpful, and if you want to adjust your grid to change some so to change the unit or change the distance in your grid, just go to the Adobe Illustrator, click on here, and let's go to the settings. There is a settings for guides and grid. just click it on, and you see here, that means we set our grid line every, I'm setting it every 1 inches, and it divided to 4. So I'll grid line every, if I enter 0.5, let's hit OK. You see my grid changed. So you can always change your grid based on the size of or the proportion of your design elements. So let's turn on our curvature tool, which is the right row, 1, 2, 3, the third one. So for the curvature tool, you can see it's, as you click, keep clicking, it seems like it doesn't want you to make the straight lines, right? It will automatically turn everything into the curve. Let's delete. So actually, if you want to use your curvature tool to create straight lines, you can also do that. But you just need to click. You just need to keep double clicking. That's how you use curvature tool to create straight lines. Because if you just click once, it will give you a curve. But if you double click on it, that means you restart everything from this point again. So it could give you a straight line. So I click once, got a curve, and I double click, restart from this again. I draw a straight line. If I didn't double click on it, it will give me a curve again. So we can use our curvature tool to, let's whenever you want to stop, let's click on V and restart from the click on V, and we have to click on the white space. And then we go back to the curvature tool to redraw another line from here. So with the curvature tool, you can always do something like this: double click, give you a curve, double click, one click, a curve, double click, one click, you'll get a curve. And as you double click here, let's go down, one click here, and we got a curve. Double click here, restart again, one click, get a curve. Double click, one click, get a curve. So you can just double click, and you got a straight line. So you can just always play with the curvature line, which could create some really fancy lines. It could create composition with both curvature line and the straight lines. So let's increase the stroke width from here. So this is another type of lines. We can modify them with the technique we learned about yesterday. Okay, we can change a form of our line to the different width type of width here. And we can also go to our windows and turn on our stroke settings. Remember to click on this one, make your show options, and let's add an arrow here, and let's turn it into a dashed line. That's how we talk about how we could be playful with our lines on our first demonstration, right? So also let's go to our path tool, not path tool, the width tool, which is here. The first line, middle one, the width tool. Right click, you will see the width tool. You can always click on Shift W to access to your width tool. And let's hold an anchor point to increase the width of this part. Increase the width of this part. Increase the width of this part. So just use the tools we discussed about in the first class to make a really fancy creative lines. We can call this one is the implied lines. So right now I want to show you something else. Let's let's just use the curvature tool to create a curve line. Click on V. So I got a path here. And this time, let's go to the text tool, type tool, right? So the first line, the first row, 1, 2, 3, 4, the first one, the type tool. Right click on it. You will see all the other tools that belongs to the type family. Let's choose the third one, type on a path tool. What's happening is when I turn on this tool, I click on my path. I can just keep typing on my path, and my text will follow the path. Well, whatever the curve looks like, my type will follow my curve. So what if I think my text is too crowded? Let's go to our properties, where it's located at the right parts of our interface. Let's click and let's select another character. If you want to change your fonts, just choose something you want from here. There's a drop-down menu, so it's the same thing happens over here. Whenever you want to change your fonts, you just change anything you want. So you can also increase the size of your text. So what if I want to increase the distance between my tags? Come here. So here, click on this box. The arrow here that you see allows you to increase the size between the elements, so it will look less crowded. Yes, and you can always hold this bar to adjust the how your text follow the path. Click this bar and hold. Yeah, so we can also say this is an implied line with the formed by the text. Yeah, so this is how we could always be playful with our text. So even we are creating a shape and we turn it into the stroke mode. So we can simply click to swipe, fill, and stroke. So now my shape with color turns into a color stroke, which is, we can also say this is also a path, a round path. So that's how we can also go to our type on path tool, type, and type on text. So this is a really handful tool if you want to create some really creative layout on your posters or something. You can try to be playful with these tools. Yes, you can also increase the space between those elements. You can also hold this bar to adjust how they may display on this round path, circle path. Yeah. So this is another way we are creating something really interesting. So now I will going to show you about our pencil tool. The pencil tool is really straightforward. So let's go to the left row. It belongs to the same family with our smooth tool. So just right click on it, you will see a pencil tool. You will also click on N on your keyboard to turn on your pencil tool. So as you turn it on, let's make sure it's not filled with color, because we don't need color while drawing lines. We don't need the shape, so we just turn it off and turn on the color for our stroke. So right now you see, because I'm selecting this part, so it turns my text into the stroke. So that's okay. We just leave it here. If you don't want, just click Command Z to go back. So let's click on a white space and let's go back to our circle. Let's swipe the fill and the stroke. So I got my circle here, path here. So let's click on it again. So I'm just to show you again with how we could add text on our circle path. So right now, let's go to our pencil tool again. Right click pencil tool, and yes, make sure your path is within color so we can draw lines with color. So for the pencil tool, you just draw something you want. You can just follow the path to draw something you want, and let's double click on the pencil tool. So if this selection option key toggles to smooth tool is not opened, so let's open this option. Let's click it, make sure it's turned on. So in that way, whenever I'm drawing something and I click on option tool, my smooth tool will automatically appear. So I'm just holding my option key and I can just smooth what I have just drawn. So whenever I lose my option key, it will get back to my pencil tool. So I can just continue drawing and I click on option tool to smooth the thing I just draw. So just I can smooth up everything as long as I'm drawing the stuff. So it saves a lot of time. I don't have to go back to my menu bar and toolbar and just go back to switch to everything again. Keep switching those tools. So this is a really helpful selection. So now let's increase the size of our artboard, which is the very bottom part of our right row. Let's increase the size of our artboard. Let's click V to go back to our selection mode. So let's turn on our brush, which is the shortcut B. You can always also go to the toolbar and click on it. So for the brush tool, it's really easy to understand. So you can always go to the brush library menu to select the brush you want to use. There are different types of brush. Let's go to artistic ink. Let's choose the type of ink you want to use. Let's try this one. So your brush, you're doing the ink painting by using the brush tool, which is something really interesting. You can try different types of brush just based on what types of art you want to create. Paintbrush, you see they are totally different types of brush. You are simply drawing on your artboard. You can see it will still create the anchor point with your path. So you can also go back to your direct selection tool to make adjustment of your brush paint. With some adjustment, let's turn those angles into curve. Let's drag the handles to change the directions of your path. Let's drag the anchor point, just whatever you want. Just play with it. Yeah. So whenever you want to turn off your grid, let's just go to the view and you will scroll down, hide grid. You can here also shows a shortcut key. You can also use it. So hide the grid. So I'm turned off my grid. So get back to my common mode. Yes. So this is how we use our pen tool, pencil tool, and pen tool. Yes, so hope this video could be helpful. So yes, so for our in-class activity, for the last class we did our second activity, just use the pen tool to draw an animal, follow the path of the animal. So you can use the photos here. You can also select your own photos and draw it, and after you draw it, just post it on the discussion board. Yeah, so if you haven't done that yet, so just please do this exercise and submit here. Yes, so see you.